to the DL Podcast. I'm Bobby,
I'm Nick.
I'm Ender's Logic.
and it's taken me a minute to switch the video. My little pad here isn't working anymore. None of the buttons work, so I got to do it manually in Streamlabs.
No.
Anyway,
Anyways, how you guys doing? How are your weeks? Your week?
Pretty good. I got to relax a lot this week, but I didn't get to play that many video games only because I was getting ready for D&D and doing a lot of dad stuff and
Yeah.
other things. And what I did get to play was like Magic and the game of the weeks, Humankind.
At least
And
you
then,
got to rest.
oddly enough, some Hunt Showdown.
Nice. Bobby, how was your week?
pretty uneventful.
Yeah.
Same old stuff.
Yes.
I did get to game a lot though, so that was good.
Good.
A lot to talk about this week.
I've been playing one thing pretty much, but you guys can all guess what it was. All right. So let's get it started.
Let's get into it. All right. So, Timberborn is a game that recently released this week, I believe. And it is, first of all, the artwork grabbed my attention right away because it's beavers building a city. And of course, the city's all made out of wood. So, the idea of this game is that humankind has been erased from the planet, natural disaster or something. Beavers have inherited the earth. So now you are building your beaver town. It's a sim game. You're building your beaver town, and it's all made out of wood. It's a great idea. I like it. The reviews are pretty good. What's really interesting, though, is the vertical building. And I'm trying to think, because I play a lot of these games, I'm trying to think of any other game that had this. And I don't know to what extent they allow you to do this, but they allow you to build buildings on top of other buildings and stack.
Now, is there like prerequisites for that though? Like, I wonder.
I'm sure there must be.
I
or maybe
wonder
they
if
to
like
be
you
the
have to
same
have a
kind.
staunchier building at the bottom.
Well,
and
yeah,
you can
I'm
build, like-
sure there are. I don't know how the mechanics play out for that, but it's a great idea because I played so many of these games and you never really thought about building vertically. Like that never crossed my mind.
Well, in the Sim City games, you do build skyscrapers, but it's still one unit.
It's still one unit.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
aren't stacking things up on top of each other.
Yeah, it makes it more interesting. Well, once you get these huge sprawling metropolises, you end up having to like fly across the map to get to like whatever. But if you have just as much stuff in a smaller footprint, I feel like it's a different way to play the game.
Mhm.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys
totally
feel like
changes it.
concepts like this, where like the game is obviously like build a city, all that kind of stuff, right? But like the fact that it's beavers, does that attract you a tiny bit more?
I mean,
like
a little
like
bit.
it's a cute, it's like an actual cute concept.
Well, I mean, that kind of stuff interests me, but it can't carry the game. You could get into
Yeah,
this
of course
game
not.
and it could just be like every other sim game city builder that you've played. So
94%. Yeah, you weren't kidding.
Yeah, a lot of people have. So every time I log into YouTube, whether it be at work or at home, the shit is always like on the recommended shit. Like it's like, watch a trailer, watch this let's play, watch this. I'm like, I get it, QB versus city building, but it's not really for me.
You know what's funny is like it seems like it's not playing into the whole beaver thing very much. I mean, as far as like comedy wise or like cutesy wise, it just seems like a city builder that just happens to be beavers as well.
yeah,
You know
it's
what I
a,
mean?
a little more
Like
on
a
the
serious game.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
the serious side.
Looks
It's-
like it anyway.
Yeah, it's not cartoonish. The graphics are not cartoonish. So yeah, it seems to be a little more on the serious side. But yeah, the game is $22.50. It's in early access, just came out. They said that they plan on being in early access for about a year. So that seems reasonable. I'm definitely going to keep my eye on this one.
Yeah. They're gonna have a DLC called Sexy Lumberjacks. Oh, sorry, that's Timber Porn. I got that wrong.
Oh, geez.
Dead silence.
It's where I thrive, Bobby, in the dead silence, bro.
In the dens.
Not even Christian laughed on that. He's the easiest one to make laugh, and yeah, he didn't even chuckle.
Sag.
All right. moving on, please, as quickly as possible.
What
This
do
is
you
actually
get this week? Because you have 2 items.
this is a game that Christian put on there. Gord. Bring it up so I can remember what it is. Oh yeah. So this this seems to be a it's a city builder, but it's also an action game, and that is a two very diametrically opposed kind of things. So you're building this village, but I think you're just going outside the village and like hacking and slashing whatever the problem is, and then bringing the resources back and then putting it into your village. I haven't played a game like that since like ActRaiser on the like Super Nintendo, where it was a expansionist game, but also like a 2D side scroller. Um, yeah, so I think it's
Isn't this on
definitely
Game
interesting.
Pass?
I'm not sure.
No, it's not. Never mind, it's not.
Okay. Anyway, it's cool. I like to see progression in other things than just skills in your character. When you see progression in your town, and then that turns around and gives you like you get better armor because your blacksmith has a bed to sleep in. Like it all makes sense, you know. So I hope that's
Yeah.
how this game is. That's what it looks like it's going on here. How are the
Hmm.
reviews, or is it not out yet, Chris?
Planned
No,
release
it's not
date
out yet.
is 2022.
Yeah,
Little ways away here.
Huh.
yeah, has a good look to it. Kind of like look like Vikings maybe. But yeah,
Hmm. So I saw a game every now and then. If I can't really find anything, like we have a Discord. Everybody goes there all the time and recommends shit. And so usually there's something new on. We have an on the radar section, and I usually peek in there, and if anything catches my eye, I'll put it in the show. Didn't really get to see anything, but I did see this in the popular up and coming section of Steam, and it's called Siege the Day. And if anyone's familiar with like Clash of Clans, where you build your own like city or you build your own little kingdom, right? And you like build towers and defenses and stuff, you know that it's very passive. Like you build your city, you mine gold, and you attack, and like your characters attack. They have their own AI, and like they'll bunch up and then get killed and shit like that. Well, in this game, you build your town and you build your own defenses, but it's like a mixture of that. Like it's a mixture of Clash of Clans and like Angry Birds,
Hmm.
in the sense that you get some mobs like they're like the mobs are really strong, but they most of the combat is revolved around your towers, and you have to balance out like how many towers you have compared to like how many walls and defensive structures and production structures you have.
mm.
And so it's like it's a mixture of a bunch of games like tanks and some
Rampart,
other
dude.
ones.
Anybody
And I don't know,
remember?
it seems kind of fun. I think it's like if
Arcade.
it's a game that's below $10, this actually might be a game that would be good for RNG with DLG, which is one of our shows where we interview a community member. We're looking for more passive shows. We played me and the Lotion played what's it called? Golf with your friends. And
Mhm.
so yeah, we had a great time.
That's a perfect game for that. Way to shoehorn your own show in there. Dude.
Really
That was
working in these plugs.
that was pretty good, dude. Yeah, yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm
He's
reading
doing
books.
the Lord's work, dude, because we don't ever do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of
Yeah.
concerns me when you compare this to Clash of Clans, because that was the most egregious Skinner box mobile game back in the day.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think-
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, was there even a game there, or was that just like a
No,
device for
the game
extracting money
was
from
essentially
people?
like, oh, you need to cultivate your things when they show up.
Yeah, it was a whole
And then
like
like
time.
you
I never
attacked when
played
your
it.
friends weren't there or whatever the fuck, but it was stupid.
Yeah, if anybody remembers Rampart, there was a game on Nintendo where you attacked each other's walls with cannons. It looks very similar, and then in between rounds, you build your walls back up. It's very much like that.
Great game.
But I guess you knocking down the walls here allows your troops to gain access to deeper into their castle. There's two castles right across each other, kind of like Team Fortress 2 or something. Interesting. Yeah, it's a mix of a bunch of stuff.
Like I said, if the game is like $5 or $10, I will definitely pick it up, like hands down, just to be able to like a bullshit game. Like if you have 20 or 30 minutes
Dude, this is
and
going
you
to be
want to play a quick game of
20.
something,
It's gonna be
I'll play it.
$30.
You think?
Yeah. We should start putting down our guesses, sniper, and then like seeing who gets closest.
I'm gonna guess 20 on this. Doesn't seem like
Did
a
we
big
ever-
game.
Did we ever get our list of like best listener questions?
No, sniper just looks good on camera.
But no,
no
yeah, no.
punch in
This game looks awesome. I like. I'm down to play it.
My last game here is Artful Escape. Seems to be. I don't know what kind of game it is. It seems like a 2D side scroller, but it has to do with this like struggling artist and his place in the world. Like it talks. There's little cutscenes about him talking to his parents about becoming an artist or being an artist or having an artistic mind and struggles with that. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. And then halfway through, can you click on that? There you go. Yeah, it gets so trippy when he goes into the actual game world. Like, to do something that's weird and noteworthy in the graphical or weird sense these days, like everything's been done. I had to call Sam over. I was like, look at this art, dude. It is fucking bananas. Like, just so weird. You have to take a look at it. It's called Artful Escape. Just check out the video on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to be a good game. I don't know much about it at all. There's not a whole lot of information, but the visuals alone is why I brought it up here. Isn't that fucking nuts?
It looks really crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time mixed with like Spyro graphics from like PlayStation 2 for some reason.
Or like,
I don't know why, but it's like the edginess and like the colors. It looks really good.
like a modern heavy metal. You know?
Yeah. That's a better comparison.
Yeah, anyway, it's out there. Check it out just for the art's
Yeah.
sake. Yeah, and what I wanted to bring that was it has a little X up on there, so I guess it's going to guess Series X, right? But what I discovered, Ray was over here, and he discovered that on Xbox Game Pass you can stream the games instead of downloading them and playing them, right? Which is cool.
Yes.
I was like, cool, whatever. That's nice to know. But you can stream pretty much all Xbox games ever. So you could play like Fable 1, 2, 3, all the Gears, anything that didn't come to PC, you can play a streamable version as long as you have the Xbox controller.
Have you tested that out?
I have not, because none of that really interests me too much. But
check out this cool feature, which I have no interest in.
But there's some people out there that are like, oh shit, I've been waiting for that. Maybe one guy. There you go, one guy.
Maybe one.
Wow.
Maybe.
Cool.
But no, I do like workarounds like that. Like back in the day, if anyone remembers PlayStation 3 shenanigans, where you and all your friends could share DLCs for any game as long as you shared your logins with each other. So essentially, all you had to do was log into your PlayStation with your friend's account, and any DLC that he had for any game, as long as you had those games installed and like you own them as well, all the DLC were included.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, and like it never got discovered for like 5 years.
That's nice.
It was the time to be alive, man. I felt like such a pirate when I was like fucking 12.
What are the Xbox killer apps? I know Fable was like their big one that people were saying it was super good. Was there anything else?
I mean, like Xbox games that were like amazing.
Yeah, like Splinter Cell stuff, I guess.
I mean, Splinter Cell was good. Most of like the ultimate bangers, like Halos and things like that, you get in like Gears. Like you get all of that
on PC now.
Yeah. So it's just like, what do you?
Yeah, any game that was really good, they made 5 sequels. So.
Can we get a top Xbox exclusive ratings? Maybe is that top Xbox exclusives of all time? They were nice. See if there's anything here that we want to play.
Geometry Wars.
Hey, Geometry Wars is the shit, man.
Yeah, but that's on PC, isn't it? All these games are on PC.
Yeah,
they weren't for a while.
Yep.
But like Forge,
All
like
top 10
almost
are
like
already on
all
PC.
these games on this list are on on PC now. Like,
So basically, if you
we
want to play Fable, I just told you away.
I think you can play Fable on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah,
I
probably.
don't think anyone's still playing Fable.
Yeah, nobody's playing Fable. All right.
Nobody's
Okay, I'm
lining,
sorry, guys. I'm sorry I discovered something.
nobody's lining up for Fable 1. All right, let's talk about some games that we did play. I played a lot of Slay the Spire this week, so I finally got into it. Griffins was the first game the first card battle game that I got into, and I was really interested to check out another one to see if I just like the genre a whole lot or if Griffins was something special. And this game's been out for a while. It was one of the first big card battle games, so I'm not going to sit here and explain it. Everybody knows what this game is, but I do want to compare it a little bit with Griffins, which I've spent countless hours in. It's it's not nearly as complex as Griffins, both in the combat and also like the systemic stuff. Griffins has this whole story. It's a RPG.
Yeah.
It's a lot longer. You have a lot more time to build your deck and customize your deck, remove cards and add cards and all that. So you feel a little bit more invested in it. And then you have both the combat and the negotiation in Griffins, which I like. So there's a lot more complexity and there's a lot more you can do with it. But that being said, I really like the simple focus of Slay the Spire.
Yeah, it's mechanics and that's it. Pretty much.
Yeah, that's it. You have 3 acts. You have a little map where you choose your path and, you stop by a shop and buy things, but there's really not much outside of the actual combat. And the complexity is still pretty good. They've got the 4 playable characters. The last 2 I really liked, the Defect and the Watcher. I really enjoyed
I never played
their
those.
play styles. I imagine they weren't out at the time
Yeah.
you played them. I think a lot of people played this when it was in early access a couple years ago when it first came out. I beat the game with every single character. That's how much I
Damn,
like this
dude.
game.
Damn.
God damn, that's pretty good, Bobby.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time playing it, and I really enjoyed it. There's a huge luck factor in it, which
Yeah.
there always is in these games, and I
And
kind of
roguelikes.
don't like that because your run can just be ruined, and you're on a bad run and you're wasting your time. But
Oh
sometimes,
yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about because like the third run of Griffins I had, I like after the first 3 turns, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like just complete
yeah,
restart.
this isn't going anywhere. Yeah, and that happens. But that being said, I did have one run in this game where I had a really tough time in the first act, but the second act went very well, and I ended up beating it again. But there's like another extra end game to this that I don't know if that was in the game when you played, but if you collect these 3 pieces of this piece of jewelry along the way, then once you get to the end, there's like a second boss
Mhm.
after that you can fight. I have not beat that guy yet. That has been very difficult. But they also have, once you beat the game, then you unlock this ascension level. So you can play through on harder difficulty. And the ascension
Oh.
level goes up, I don't know how high, but there's an achievement for doing it on 20. So I'm on ascension level 4 with the first guy, the Ironclad, and I think 2 on the second guy, the Silent, who just, he's like a rogue,
Yeah,
poison
like a rogue.
shivs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But it's a great game. Like I really enjoy the simplicity of it. In Griffins, I ended up skipping past a lot of the dialogue. At a certain point, I stopped caring at all about the story. So that really didn't do a whole lot for me. But I still kind of like the combat, and especially the negotiation fights in Griffins were great.
But you said you can kind of like cheese it out a little bit on the negotiations, right?
Yeah. So what they do in Griffins is when you play the cards, they get XP. After a certain update, they capped it off. So you can't just, what you
Yeah.
could do at a certain point was like, oh, I've got this guy on the ropes. He's not going anywhere.
Oh.
I'll just keep playing cards over and over again and build up my whole deck. They capped it. So after a certain point, you stop building XP on those, but you can still do that a little bit, which is kind of weird because then you start playing cards just so you build up XP as opposed to maybe that's not the best card to play here. In this one, the upgrade system is a little different. Like there's just parts during the game, during the shops, you can buy upgraded cards, or when you're at rest stops, you can upgrade your cards.
Have you seen the value in thinning your deck? Have you like? I remember a long time ago, I had to explain it to you
Mhm.
that you were like, why would I pay and it's getting the shittier cards out is
Yeah.
very important. Just as important as picking up a good card is getting rid of the
Yeah,
shitty ones.
I find that works against me a lot of the time in this game. I have had a few decks where I was very successful with that, running a deck that was less than 20 cards.
Yeah.
There's an achievement for having a deck of 3 cards.
Damn.
So I don't know
Whoa,
how
what
you
the
do
fuck?
that. But yeah, that definitely helps. What I was wondering though, so they use this term in a game called scry. Is that from Magic?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I figured it was.
Yeah.
It seemed the way they were referencing it made it sound like you should already know what this means. So scribing, you can look at the top cards of your deck,
Yeah.
right?
And then put some of them on the bottom. If you
Yeah,
want.
and then
Yeah.
rearrange.
Yes.
such. Yeah, but it's a great game, man. It's fantastic. I beat it over and over again, and I'm still enjoying it on the Ascension levels. Just because I enjoy the game, not just because I'm trying to unlock more
Yeah.
cards or get to higher Ascension levels. Like it's just really fun, and it's really simple and focused on the fun part of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you like this, John and I both agree that Monster Train and Tainted Grail are better than this game.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Huh.
How
this is a
so?
great game, but this has started it off, you know.
Yeah.
And I think their engine it was built for one thing, and they're adding it and making it better. But you know, like you said, it's simple. So in Monster Train, instead of having characters, you have races or kind of like factions,
Mhm.
and then as you unlock these factions, your deck is made out of 2 factions. So at the end, I think there's like 4 factions, maybe 5 with the DLC, and so there's so much complexity because of the 5, you're mixing them up, and so the amount of synergies and weird combos that you can make is, and then sometimes you feel like you break the game. You're like, I am so fucking strong. This is fucking stupid. Like I'm just annihilating. But some of the bad guys are so insane that you have to break the game in order to beat them. But that's the fun, trying to break the game, basically. Or you feel like you're breaking the game, but that's
Mhm.
what it's built for, and it makes you feel like I'm a god, you know, and that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Really good reviews on this one too.
yeah, yeah.
On Monster Train.
Yeah, I hate the aesthetic was not for me, and it really turned me off the first time I played it. And I gave it a bad review, and then John played it, and he's like, "Dude, you got to give it a second shot." And then I did, and I was like, "Oh, actually, this is a really good game."
And what was the other one? Monster Train, and you mentioned a
Tainted
second.
Grail.
Tainted
Tainted
Grail.
Grail
That's
is
the
the-
newer one.
Yeah, that's the
newer
one with the
Okay.
three-dimensional graphics and like a world that you move around in. That just kind of adds, it makes it a little more, and a little more like immersive, I guess. Kind of creepy. It's not, the story is kind of cool, but the way you play the game, it has a ton of characters. There's like 12 different ones, nine different characters, and yeah, it really adds to the replayability.
All right.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep, fans of so these are roguelike card games.
Yeah.
case
Card
you guys
battle games.
Yeah, in case you never played one, Slay the Spire is a great place to start.
So,
And
and it-
speaking of card games,
Jesus Christ, the
well,
worst transition ever.
the only reason we're bringing it up is the new set came out, the
Yeah.
Midnight Hunt in Innistrad in Midnight Hunt. So Nick told me this, I didn't know this, that every year they do a Innistrad set for Halloween.
Yeah, for like the last 3 years, 3-4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's heavy werewolf stuff, day night stuff, like it turns from day to night while you're playing. The mechanics,
Which is a new mechanic, by the way. So every time Innistrad comes out, there's a lot of new mechanics, and the set has a huge theme around Halloween-ish stuff. That's like ghouls, spirits, zombies, and werewolves and vampires.
yeah, and thematically, I think it's really it's a great little set. Like one of the mechanics that I like a lot are the 2/2 zombies that you make. There's these zombies that have decay on them. Is that the word?
Yes, it's called
Yeah,
decaying.
they have decaying on them. So you only get to use them once. They attack and then they fall apart. And this is a great little idea that you have these creatures that are just like dog shit. You could send them into battle one time and that's it. and you could also sacrifice them and use them as fodder, which is the first deck that I thought of. But what do you think of the set, all in all?
I'm having a great time with it. I think it's the best Innistrad set that they've ever had. What's also a nice thing is that you're watching it right now on our stream, and that's the new trailer for Innistrad. And this is the first time they've had a trailer for a set in the last year, which is kind of nice to see because, like about 6 or 7 sets ago, they released the first Magic the Gathering trailer, which was amazing. It had like a Linkin Park song that was a cover. They had a bunch of other shit, and like it was animated really nicely, and people love seeing their favorite characters animated. And it was just a great, just overall piece of art. And so people got really excited that this got shown. There's a lot of lore stuff that's shown in the trailer, and there's a lot of cool like details that if you don't really know anything about it, you can look further into it. But it's just a good time. The new set's great. Unfortunately, I can't talk about this thing that doesn't really exist anymore because it's a timed event. But there was a pre-release for the set where if you paid $49, you essentially got like $90 worth of ship for included.
Yeah, I paid for it. Nick
and
convinced me. I was like, dude, we got a packs for $1 each, and then
yeah,
a bunch of other stuff.
It was just
digital
it was
packs?
just bonkers.
Digital packs,
It
yeah.
was so it's like you paid $49. You got the mastery, which normally is $20. You got 3 drafts, which are usually $10 each. You got the pre-release event, which is normally $20. You got a bunch of card art and a copy of the card, and then you got some other stuff, and you got a pet. And they you can tell that they really wanted people to play this set, and people are. It's one of the most popular sets right now. So
Yeah,
the other major thing is that 4 of the previous sets have now rotated. So the card like pile for playing like competitively went from like a huge amount to like 60%. So there's going to be a lot of new decks and a lot of changes.
So
Yeah.
the meta is kind of shifting right
Oh,
now.
not kinda, completely changed.
Completely changing.
When I signed
yeah.
on to my when I saw my library of decks, they all had exclamation marks because I have to modify them to get them up to standard. If I want to play standard, you could always play modern.
Historic.
Yeah. One last thing, just thematically, how they fit cards into the set or the idea with the cards. So there's these, ghosts, ghouls, all that stuff, right? So there's these little characters, little creatures. If you kill one, they go into your graveyard, just like everything else. And then from the graveyard, you could play its disturb cost. So you disturb it when it's in the graveyard, and it comes back as a spirit. And the spirits are like a flying version of the creature that you originally had. It might have another little thing going on for it, but if that thing dies, it exiles. It can't even go into the graveyard. It just disappears forever. And I just thematically and like the art for all of these are just so great. You have the living version, and then you flip the card over and you have the ghost version, and then it fucking works. And then the whole day night thing going on with the werewolves. Like if somebody has a werewolf deck, you're always trying to make it daytime again on your side of the game because you don't want to fucking fight those things when they're all fucking werewolfed up, right? You want to make them humans. So it's a cool little mechanic. Yeah, good set.
Nice.
Yeah, very happy with it.
I definitely play Magic, and that takes care of my talking point in the notes. Thank God. I ended up playing some Hunt Showdown, and to my surprise, they have a new game mode where you actually just play solo now, and so you can actually just play solo, doubles, or triples. And triples are the original game mode. You played on a team of 3, and you usually got carried or carried your teammates and had a good time killing bosses and stuff. So
hey Nick, just because this game is so original, there's only like 3 games that have. Can you explain the game mechanic and the gameplay loop?
So yeah, so this if anyone's familiar with Escape from Tarkov, it's a very similar concept. Um, it, what no one's really put a real label on it. They call it a raid based shooter or an instance based shooter.
I put a label on it. I call it play for keeps games.
Yes, that's a good way to put it if you're not familiar with them at all. So essentially, what you do is you build a character, depending on what level you are and how much time you have in game and things like that. You have certain things you can buy, and so everybody's given a certain amount of money. You don't really face people that are way above you in rank. They have a great meta system where it's like if you're level 13, you're not going to play with like the level 70 chads that have explosive spears that kill you in one hit. It just doesn't happen. And that's purposeful. And if you use the matchmaking and stuff like that, or you're playing teams, like you get really balanced shit. But to further elaborate on the mechanics, so yeah, you download a character. Your character has perks. Your character has a certain look. Some character models are bigger. Some of them are smaller. Some of them are faster. Some of them are slower. Some of them have different health bars. So, for example, some of them have 4-piece health bars, while some of them have 3-piece health bars. And your first aid kit will heal one whole piece, or yeah, one whole piece. So, if you have 4 pieces and you lose one piece, or you lose 2 pieces and you use a first aid kit, you go to 3. You don't go back to full health. But 3 health bars, you go back to full health. So it's very there's a lot of details that are into the game, but you can literally, now that it's singles or doubles, you can really play for free, because in the singles game mode, it's free. It's a way to make money. Is you just play the singles game mode and you don't have to build a character. You play with free stuff. And so whatever you survive with, you keep, and you also make money for surviving. The thing is, in singles, I believe it's 20-man lobbies, and in singles, it's there's just one winner. In teams of twos and teams of threes, there are multiple winners, and even if you don't win, if you like your shit and your teammate's dead and you don't want to die, you can leave early and you can just bounce out and take like the $50 fucking like penalty and keep all your shit. So there's a lot of different aspects to the game, and it's been around for a while. It had a terrible, terrible, terrible launch. The game was buggy. The net code was terrible. There was a lot of overpowered shit, but it's really balanced now. They have a new event where it's called like the Spectre and the Spirit or something like that, where you choose a weapon to get for free. Either you choose a tomahawk or you choose a bow and arrow, and they're both Native American characters that you can unlock and play as. And they both have their advantages. Tomahawks, they're a throwing weapon, so you can have guns still. But meanwhile, bows, you have more ammo and they're stronger. And there's just a lot to play. I won one solo game, which was nice after the 6 that I played. But one thing that I will say compared to like Tarkov as well is that no cheaters. I haven't ran into a single cheater. If anyone knows anything about Tarkov right now, your chances of running into a cheater is like 47% right now in a game,
Jeez.
which is absurd.
That's a broken
the
game.
the Tarkov player base is like running like crazy. No one's playing the game anymore because of these cheaters.
That sucks.
And so a lot of the Tarkov YouTubers and Tarkov streamers are playing games like Hunt. They're playing other games. They're playing games like Rust. And so I was one of those people who are like, I have Hunt. I need a FPS to play until New World comes out. And I just played Hunt, and I love it. I wish we had people in our Discord. If you have Hunt, if you want to play with somebody, I'd love to play with you. Even if you're good or bad, I'll still play with you. So, also, it's set in Louisiana in 1895 in an alternate reality, and it's a bunch of demons and shit. So it's pretty cool.
Couple little things about it that I liked. With the matter, yeah, when you're there, it is one of the creepiest games. It's probably the creepiest online multiplayer game I think I've ever played.
Yeah, and the bosses are terrifying. There's a boss that's made out of hands and legs that crawls on the fucking ceiling that like squeaks at you, and it's terrifying. It's a mixture of a horror game, a multiplayer game, a first person shooter, and like a survival game.
Yeah, ideally,
Um,
so you and all these other teams spawn, and then you're all hunting that boss, and you want to get its soul and take the soul to the exit. But there's so many ways that can play out. You can just wait till the other team does it and then ambush them on the way out. You can like not like he said, if you get a bunch of other loot, just leave. Just leave with what you got, and you don't lose any of the stuff you have. There's a lot of ways to play this game, and yeah, I wish this is one of the games that I wish I was good at.
you know what's funny now is due to a lot of like the changes they made to the game. So for example, when you kill the special zombies, I call them zombies, but they're not called zombies. But when you kill the special zombies now, they drop perks, and some of the perks make being a supportive character way more like beneficial. So like usually like Bobby when we play games will be like the tank or something. Like there are things that will make you take less damage if you're closer to people or if you're farther from people. But one of the number one perks that everybody always looks for is called the snake. And the snake allows you to res your friends from 15 feet away.
Mm.
And so like you always have that reserve friend that's hiding behind cover, resing your teammates. The caveat is that if you're one of those people that, like I said before, with the health bars, if you have more health bars, you can lose a whole health bar by reviving somebody. But if you have 3 health bars, like normal characters, you won't lose a whole health bar, which is nice.
Hmm. Well,
But like I said, they made the game easier to play, but still, still fun and still very rewarding for skilled players.
it's good to know, man.
Also, they're having a huge sale on DLC, and it's not pay to win in any sense. It's all they're all cosmetics. The quote unquote legendary weapons, you're like, oh man, this is like Jimbo's shotgun. I guess it does like triple damage. No, it just looks cool and makes funny noises and shit.
It's a lot of DLC.
Yeah, no, and they're all, like I said, character skins. Like there's a guy, like it's called a bone briar, and he's like a crazy like Cajun guy who's like a prepper, and like an 1895 prepper is just a naked guy in the woods covered in bird shit. And he just runs around covered in mud with a loincloth on and bones on his back. But somehow he's carrying the same guns and shit as everyone else.
The bow and arrow sounded exciting. I would want.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, this game also has like it has a lot of shit, and it's getting a lot of player influx, but like now you can get exploding arrows. Like the more you play with certain items, the better they get. Like the game blossoms. It doesn't flood you with a bunch of shit to do in the beginning. It's the more you play, the more you learn, the more is available to you.
So this game's been out for like 4 or 5 years. All-time peak is 34,000, but the past 24 hours is 25,000. So yeah, huge influx.
If you look in July, right, you look at the stats, you see that big plus of 1,164.
Yeah.
That's when the new cheats for Tarkov came out.
Yeah.
As soon as those new cheats came out, everybody started switching games again.
Yeah.
And because this game is so similar on how like the rounds work and everybody's playing this. Me, you, and Bobby once played this game.
Yeah.
And we played like 3 rounds.
I've never played this game.
No, it wasn't. Who
played
was it? It was me, you, and who else? Was it Diddy?
I don't know. But yeah,
I remember me and you playing it with somebody.
So bad. My computer couldn't even run it. Well, that was the big problem with this game. It was so sluggish. Like you felt like you were playing. But that's all worked out now.
They fixed all the performance issues. So, like I said, if you have it, play it. I mean, if you have it, I'll play with you. But yeah.
Cool.
So tell us about Splitgate, Bobby.
Splitgate. So I played some of that on Friday. I managed to get on at a decent hour on Friday and caught the usual Friday crew just in time. And we all started playing some Splitgate. Now, this game I had played about 2 years ago. I played the beta. It's basically Halo with portals. You shoot an entrance portal, an exit portal. It allows you to like shoot people from vantage points or to escape. You can do all sorts of fun things in this game. And they've ripped off just about everything from Halo and a little bit from Call of Duty, like every game mode. So when I played it in beta, I played it for about 45 minutes and I wasn't that impressed. I thought it was kind of fun, but I couldn't imagine playing it for any long duration of time. This time around, maybe it was because I was with friends, but we played it for a while and I had a pretty good time. We kept switching to all the different game modes. There's one game mode where it's like a knockout round. It's called Showdown, where 3v3, once you die, you're out. And when one team wins, they get the win for that round. And then you play like 12 rounds or however many until the other team cannot come back. So it felt a little more competitive. And speaking of competitive, they do have a ranked mode in this game. But it was a lot of fun. It feels a lot like the old shooters like Halo, I guess Call of Duty and Halo are pretty modern now too, but the guns aren't like overly complex. It is kind of hard to tell them apart. And the game's doing really well. I've seen a lot of people on my friends list playing it. There's 13,000 people playing it right now. It's got a healthy player base. So I'm glad to see the game's doing well. They've got a battle pass too. I guess that's how they're monetizing on this. Battle pass and cosmetics. You can buy in-game currency, but it's all for cosmetic stuff. And the cosmetic stuff actually does look pretty good. They've got a lot of these gun skins that I haven't seen this before, but they've got these gun skins that like shimmer or wave almost with the colors. It looks really pretty.
What I was going to say about this is, was it Fastidious was like, dude, you ever seen this game? I was like, yeah, I played it like 2 years ago, dude. He's like, no, look at how many people are playing now. It's fucking awesome. So I looked it up, and yeah, it's definitely had a resurgence. So this is season 0, and you can play for free, which kind of makes me feel like, when it goes to season 1, they're probably going to start charging $20 or something. So it might be a really good time to like try it out right now. I feel like they're going to start charging, but who knows? They might
charging
go
just to get into the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I figured they would charge. You can buy the battle pass with in-game currency.
Oh,
now,
wow.
They give you 50 in-game. They call it split coin too. In-game currencies always have the stupidest names. You start out with 50 split coin, and somehow I earned 100 more. Now the battle pass, they have 2 battle passes. There's like a premium and a regular. I don't know what the difference is. The regular was like 900. The premium was 2,000. So I don't know if you can just play this game a lot and eventually earn the battle pass. Now, they're doing what every other game does with a battle pass. You earn the rewards, and then once you buy it, you unlock all of it. So it kind of entices you like, hey, look what you could be getting if you had the battle pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the cosmetics are cool, but like I said, it's hard to tell the guns apart. I guess that comes with playing the game a lot more.
Well, that, and once you buy the skins, I'm sure they look way more different. That's probably one of the perks.
Well, the frame of the gun still looks the same. It's got the same structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun, man. I was having a great time. It was probably because we were winning so much too. We were winning a lot. I was having good and bad rounds, but overall we were winning like almost every game that we played.
Nice. Good to know.
Yeah, free to play. Check it out. It is like, it's only like 13 gigs, I think. It's pretty small. But
that's not bad at all for a free to play game of this quality too.
Yeah,
I have a couple of friends that have been playing it once again from the Tarkov Fallout, so I might pick it up this week. I need something new and fresh to play before New World comes out.
Well, I'm just surprised that it held my attention for so long, because it's such a, those old first person shooters back in the day, they were so quick and inconsequential, and that's really all you had. So of course you kept playing it, but now. Other games have tried this, like Toxic came out and tried to bring back that early 2000s first-person shooter type game, and it's like for an hour that's fun, but then after that you're totally over it. But
I feel like a game like this gives a little more. You can win through cleverness and not just Twitch reactions.
It does add a strategy element with the portals, and some people I imagine that the player base will get wise to this eventually, but some people are pretty clueless. Like there's certain game modes where you have to defend a point or you're playing King of the Hill, and you just shoot a portal behind them, and then you shoot a portal next to you, and then you just headshot them one by one. Like you just get free shots on them the whole time. So it's taken a while for people to understand some of the mechanics of the game, but I imagine that'll change as it goes on.
That's what I was going to say. I knew you were going to fucking outsmart these motherfuckers. You probably weren't going to out.
I do like that. I do like that they have more of an intellectual strategy element to it. And then
I was like, who needs quick reaction times when you have strategy?
I mean, it does help to have the quick reaction times too, though. It is a first person shooter.
Fish in a barrel, anyone?
Yeah.
What more can we say about New World, man?
So, as everyone knows, New World's coming out in 11 days, 28th, so 9 days. As far as the DLG community goes, we are starting our own guild, per se, or clan, whatever you want to call it. It's known as the Cerveza Snobs. They wouldn't give us beer snobs. Down with New World. Give us our title as we want it, you greedy bastards. We will be playing on probably most likely US East servers. However, we are taking a straw poll on, what servers people would like to play on. Anyone in our community is more than likely to, or more than welcome to join our guild or clan. You can go into the Digital Logic Discord, which you can find the link below in our description for our Twitch page, also on our YouTube channel, and you can go ahead and join and just request at Sniper to give you the permissions to join the clan channel.
Hey,
and
Sniper,
we'll get you in there.
You looked completely confused the entire time he was talking. Was there misinformation going on there?
Who, me?
Yeah. You're like, wait, why is he saying that?
No, we're playing on US East. There's no poll for it. It's East.
We decided East after all?
We're locked the fuck in. East is the best. West is not the best.
Yeah, so we are playing US East. But yeah, so I think we already have, 30 members?
Yeah.
We have quite a bit. So,
and Ray's bringing in his crew, so that's another 6 or whatever. So it's more the merrier when you're doing a clan. Like there's no downsides really.
We're not super sweaty. We do have some super sweaty members. We're more of just like a group of people that you can talk to and we'll help each other out leveling and stuff. You're more than likely gonna find somebody a similar level than you while you're in game. Like people like me, I'm only probably gonna play 4 or 5 hours a week. While there's gonna be people that live off a disability or whatever, and that play 40, 30 hours a week.
So for me, it's bought. Nick, it's bought for you, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I already bought it.
Sniper, it's bought for you.
Yeah, bought.
Bobby.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
You son of a
bitch. Come on down, Bobby. It's the water's
All
great.
the cool kids are doing it. We just proved it, man.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys are gonna be all hot on it for a month, and then it's gonna be something else.
Oh, hey, now. Maybe 2 or 3 months.
It's going to be Wild 2.0, man. It's going to take over the world.
No. I don't know. That's a bold statement. It's a bold statement, Cotton.
Cool. Let's get
See how
to...
it works out for them.
Oh, Nick, you want to plug some stuff?
Yes. So I know I've done a lot of talking in a row. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a new show. It's called RNG with DLG. We're on episode, I believe, 6 now. And this week's guest was at the Lotion, or just the Lotion. A very interesting guest, and only not because he's a black guy in Korea, but also because he's just a very interesting guy. We talked about growing up in different generations, growing up in fantasy generations in the sense of if you can grow up in a different one, which one would you choose? All the way to military life, and much more. This week, this coming week, our guest will be Tag Loro. Unfortunately/fortunately, we have a very ebb and flow schedule. We do not do a set day due to the fact that we don't know what guests we're going to have until the previous guest states, because we do a popcorn guest system where the previous guest names who they would like to be on the show. So the Lotion said that he wanted Tag Loro to be on the show because Tag Loro has been to more places than Lotion, even though Lotion's in the military and has been to, I believe, 5 different countries. So yeah, you can watch the show. We make an alert at least a day ahead regarding what day and time the show will air. It's usually an hour long. We play a game 9 times out of 10. However, if we aren't, it's me playing a solo game, and that will turn it like I'll be interviewing the person that's chosen. So, like I said, you can join the Discord to see more information on that. This week. We will be ripping the episodes uh, from Twitch and putting them on YouTube so everybody can actually watch them. And we'll be getting those out to everybody else on the Discord as well. So, thank you.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. Let's talk about our game of the week, Humankind. So this is the game that I selected.
Give it to me straight. I want the clean cut answer right now. Is it better than Civ or is it not?
Well, I never played Civ 6.
Oh, okay.
So if you're talking to me about Civ 5, I don't know yet, because this game, even though I spent a lot of time playing it, it is an incredibly long game, and you have to spend a lot of time in it and go through multiple playthroughs before you really start to understand it. So I've really only scratched the surface on it. Now, this game has the potential to be really good, but the honest to God fact was I was just in no mood to play this type of game this week, partially because I was just so obsessed with Slay the Spire, but also I'm not really into these long haul games anymore. I like the pick up and go and get to the point type games. But I do think it is really good and really well designed. I think they really delivered on the idea of taking you from basic hunter-gatherers all the way up to modern society. Like, you really feel like you are experiencing the entire duration of humanity in this game. And that's really cool. And I like a lot of the elements that they have where you interact with the other cultures. If your values or beliefs or the things that you've picked as your culture develops align with theirs, then a treaty is a little more easier to accomplish, and treaties take on various forms. There's a lot of great stuff in there like that. It all seemed very Civ-like to me. I haven't played a Civ game in forever, but it seemed very similar to it.
Maybe a little more serious than Civ. Civ it has some kind of like comedy in it. It's not quite. It's a little more cartoon. Yes, it's a serious game, but compared to this one seemed like a history lesson. Although very, very well done. I mean,
yeah.
I've always said
that this game is very well thought out. However, there are some unneeded features, and I'll get deeper into that later.
Well, one of the things that I really liked about it, first of all, this developer is always my bar when I say when it comes to UIs. The UI is incredible. I like all the information is there, and all you have to do is mouse over it to get a rough idea of what that button does or why you have a number there. But one of my favorite things about it is every time you go into a new epoch, I think we're all disagreeing with how you say that. You get to choose one of the cultures that was dominant in that time era in regular history, right? So every time you graduate to the next level up, you pick one. But you could also just keep the original one that you had, and that has perks like
you get a 10% bonus to your
fame.
Yes.
The thing that you try to achieve in order to get more or to level up further. And what's interesting about that is once you lock that in, nobody else can pick it. And that goes for a lot of things in this game, which I don't know. There must be other games out there that do that, but I don't think I've come across that before, where you pick a faction or you pick something in the religious like a religious benefit, and nobody else can get that. That one's taken.
That's in Civ 6 and in Civ 5, by the way.
It's in Civ 5?
Yes. So whenever you pick a religious benefit, none of the other players can pick it.
Okay. I must have forgot about that.
Another thing that I liked about it, and most of what I'm talking about is from the tutorials. I spent more times in tutorials than I did playing the game, which is it was at least an hour of tutorials, I think.
Well, at the beginning of the game, it asks you, are you familiar with these types of
Strategy
games?
games.
It gives you 3 options, and based on the one you pick, it gives you more or less tutorials. So the one that I picked, the middle option, I wasn't in tutorials very long at all.
Yeah, I had about 2 hours worth of tutorials with the middle option as well.
And I definitely needed a refresh because I haven't played since Civ 4, I think. So I'm glad that I did it because it was all very well. Like from top to bottom, the thing is done super well. The problem is I don't have 60 hours to play this. If I was a single guy and a virgin, I'd probably be playing this a lot more.
So the combat, someone's asking about the combat in chat. I think it's been so long since Civ 5 that forgive me if I'm misremembering something, but I think the combat plays out pretty much the same.
I don't remember. So in this game, when your 2 units find each other, it goes into a different game mode where you get to, first of all, put where they're going to deploy, and then you get to decide kind of what direction it comes from. It seems like it's giving you more agency than there actually is. I feel like at the end of the day, it's just like your guys beating up their guys, and the bigger numbers usually
Well, it's
win.
a very rock, paper, scissors system that they have.
Yes,
The cavalry
yes.
wins over the infantry. The infantry wins over the pikemen. The archers, they lose against everyone in melee combat. So it's very rock, paper, scissors, but there's also advantages based on who has the high ground. So terrain advantages can apply.
Yeah, high ground
but I
is
think
huge.
it's just like Civ 5, not nearly as complex as the Total War games.
The combat, right?
The
Yeah,
combat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still pretty simple, and it can spread out over multiple turns too. Like you can only do so much combat in one turn.
Chris, did you play this with us?
No, I didn't play it.
But this is your jam, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm just playing like 3 of these games right now, and it's just a fucking lot, man. Like 3 of these types of games. But I do want to sink my teeth into this, though. It's not that well. It's well critically reviewed, but it's not very well peer reviewed. Did you guys run into any bugs or anything?
Yes.
I didn't have any.
So I ran into a couple of combat bugs. I had a couple of crashes. I think it's because I have a 3070. Some people said that they had some issues with newer graphics cards. But as far as anything else, I can see why people are not review bombing it, but like giving it bad reviews. And that's probably because, hey, it's not Civ. Like I said, I feel like there's a couple things that are not like very much needed. Like the Neolithic era, I feel is a waste of time. Like the whole like let's gather food and then we can find a village and then we can find a city. Well, Civ, you just start off with your city finders and then you just you establish your city immediately or within the next turn, because some people are ballsy and wait until 3 turns to fucking establish a city like a maniac. But this game has a lot of nice and new features while having some of new ones where you're just like, why is this even part of the game again? One thing I did like was you choose your culture / race / civilization at every epoch, like you guys mentioned. It's like I chose Egyptians, and then I chose Teutons, and then I didn't choose them in that order, but I also chose the Phoenicians, and like it playing the game is always different. It seems like so.
Yeah, because if each one of those cultures has a different perk, and so if you, as long as you don't go down the same route every single time, your mix of perks is going to be original or at least different every time you play the game, and you can find out how you want to win, which you can go science or military or cultural. There's like 5 different ways I think you can win.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you can focus in on. I hate, it's a little. Their splash page is like 99945, but if you actually look, it's more like 70%. It's 7 out of 10 everywhere you look, like everywhere. I checked a bunch of places, and I feel like that's kind of where it's at. It's beautifully done, well researched. It has all the bells and whistles, but as far as like minute for minute, or maybe even 10 for 10 minutes fun, like I think you would have to play this game for at least 3-4 hours before you can have a good enough grasp that you're having fun with it, and that's asking a lot for people that don't have time.
I feel like if you are a 4X player, this would be a better time for you. But if you have a clear bias, then stay away. Like if you're like, Civ is the greatest piece of art, and let alone there are people that don't play Civ 6 because they think Civ 5 is better and still put in 4,000 hours in Civ 5 because they think it's better. If that's your shit, that's your shit. But this is very much, if you're trying to look for a new 4X game, this may be your jam.
But that's the thing. Nobody's looking for a new 4X game. Like people who play 4X games, they're so time demanding that when people play 4X games, they become really staunch supporters of whatever game they happen to like. Usually Civ 5. So
I don't know about that. I feel like there is a time proposition though. Do you want to play the 7 out of 10 or are you going to play the 10 out of 10? If you're going to put 60 hours into it, like if this game was good off the bat, I think so many people would have switched to it. But because there's like a couple things, people will be playing there.
That's the thing. The couple things aren't bright and shining problems. It's just like I ain't find it inherently fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would really find Civ that much fun either. And nobody liked Civ 6, really. Like nobody's liked a 4X game since Civ 5, basically.
I feel like a game like this can be fun, but ultimately it's rewarding once you get to the point. These games are rewarding because you put in so much time, you get something out of it. But as far as fun, Slay the Spire is fucking fun in 5 minutes, not 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
And that goes along the lines of like, how much time do you have and stuff like that? Do you have time to put in for a later reward? And I feel like this is, like you guys said, if you have more time, this is probably for you. But if you don't, stay away.
So this is a recommendation for me with the caveat that you're into 4X games or you just broke your leg and you got to kill a lot of time.
Yeah, same exact thing for me, actually.
All right. Are we going to learn how to properly pronounce this word?
Yeah.
You did this last time, dude. I don't think it...
Who's
Google? Right? Who's Google to tell me?
Well, the thing is, I think you guys are pronouncing it like the British do, which is awesome. That's how I pronounce most of my things too. But
epic.
In the American, it's epic. But
I'm never going to call it epic because it sounds like epic.
Epoch.
Yeah. I've always said epoch.
Yeah.
It's epic.
That's weird.
Epic.
It's epoch.
That's it from now on. That's canon. We're putting it in. Bobby, what's your final?
On Humankind, yeah, it's all right. I mean,
thanks, Bobby. So goddamn eloquent until it comes to the final word. It's just like, yeah.
I don't like boiling things down to a number or a final word. It's just, I don't know. I think it's fine. I honestly couldn't tell much of a difference between this and a Civ game.
Bobby, tell me there's not people out there who be like, I'm waiting to see what Bobby says on this before I pull the trigger. There's probably like 3.5 people out there, man.
I feel sorry for those people. You should not be buying games based on my opinion.
Then why are we here? All right.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say something, but my brain literally just turned off.
Cool. Let's go to listener questions. That's a good time to get there with the turned off brain.
Yeah, it's best to turn your brain off for this part. All right, first question coming from Hogglefosh. He asks, is the golden age of video games still to come?
I'd say yes.
I say yes. Yeah.
Really?
Is it still to come? Yes. Definitely yes.
Yeah, because once we get to holodecks,
where like Ready Player One, where everybody has a VR headset, and everybody is having a good time, whether or not you're like 12 years old or 80 years old, I think that's going to be the golden age.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like once there's that, there's like full immersions, not even haptic feedback. You don't even need that, but where you get to the point where VR is, you're controlling it with your brain as opposed to your motor functions, I think that's going to be so immersive that it's going to change the world. At that, and the other thing is that where computing is going to get so powerful that game development is going to be so easy. Most of the work is going to be done by the computer, and you could just literally tell a computer what to do, and it'll do it. So those two things, I think, is why golden age, if you call it that, yeah.
Have you guys seen that Stargate Atlantis episode where they find this ancient table and they're playing an RTS game, and then one develops like super warlike and the other develops super peaceful, and then they discover that planet and they're like, oh shit, this wasn't a game, this was for real. And that you communicate to the people with like this deity thing, so they think they're gods basically. That's the golden age of gaming, when we build civilizations with fucking games, dude. That's gonna be it.
But what happened exactly? How was the game? Yeah, how did they have a board game that was a real planet?
They're Stargate, right?
Kinda.
Okay, they find the missing city of Atlantis, but it's made by these really advanced humans.
Gotcha. Okay.
And through the whole series, you see them playing this game every week, and then one of the last episodes, you find out it wasn't a game, that it was just a real planet they were fucking with. So
mind blown, right?
Yeah.
All right, next one. Oh, Bobby, do you have? I like Pong.
No, I don't think I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't imagine video games getting that much better because we already have VR, but it's cool, but it's not like revolutionizing anything, it wasn't a game changer is what I'm saying here.
What we're saying is once the technology gets to the point where it does revolutionize everything, where it becomes commonplace, like that will be the
yeah, but what's that going to change? I mean, the way we control games.
The amount
when you start like, I mean,
the amount of immersion. You still, even though you might lose yourself for a minute, we're in the caveman days of VR. Once you get to the point where you're controlling it with your mind, and it's 100% immersive, and you forget where you are completely, that's a gigantic step.
When games imitate life.
Yeah. But better.
But we already got life, though. I mean,
yeah, but you can't fly with fucking dick lasers, dude, in life.
I don't know if I'd want to.
I do. Dick lasers.
I don't know if it should be a goal that we're trying to achieve here. I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to top the 90s when it comes to gaming because things were just advancing at such a rapid pace and there was so much innovation. And now it's just like, where's the innovation at? There really isn't a whole lot.
The innovation is how do we squeeze more money out instead of how we squeeze more fun out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a different focus from the developing standpoint. Yeah. But also just like, I mean, I haven't upgraded my PC in 3-4 years now, and I feel absolutely no need to. In the early 2000s, I was upgrading at least once a year.
You had to
try to keep up with what was coming out and what was changing. There was just all these new genres, and then free to play came around, and then MOBAs, and then I mean, it was just one thing after another. But now it's just like, I don't know.
Now we're getting part 5s and part 6s of those things.
Yeah, and part of that too is that when we play video games and talk about them every week, we're just like constantly in the mix. When you're a little more. When you don't live in this world as much, I guess things seem a little more new and innovative, but I don't know.
Yeah, totally, dude, because that's why, and I've always said this about PC gaming podcasts and like PC gaming media, generally PC gamers do not bounce to different games. They have their 3 games that they play for like, and each one of those games is in like a 3-year cycle. So one might go down, they'll pick one up, and so they don't. It's not like console games where like you're always looking for the next best thing. There's the games that just go on, and they're fucking amazing. You could play TF2, Civ 5, and like some other game forever, and like there's enough there to just play that forever. So PC gamers don't jump around, but we jump around just to keep things fresh because people give us 1-star reviews. We talk about Magic for every week. So yeah, we're in a special little boat here, and we're glad that you're here for the ride.
Okay, next question comes from Morconius. He says, Marvel superhero games, like movies, are becoming massive money makers, and instead of being directly related to the movies, they are building their own storylines. The Square Enix Avengers game was a miss, and the font keeps changing.
He's just fucking with you, dude.
Square Enix Avenger game was a miss, and Firaxis is making a turn-based Marvel game. Which developer would you like to make a superhero game, and which superhero?
I want to see the people who make God of War. I want to see them make like a Doctor Strange game, only because Doctor Strange has some of like the most absurd and varied storylines in his comics and things like that you could really make any kind of storyline you want with them, right? And I feel like anytime anybody makes a movie or a game about any of these characters, you can just completely skip the origin story now. Like when it comes to Spider-Man, when it comes to anybody, anytime there's a new iteration of it, like they even made a joke about it in No Way Home, or not No Way Home, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, the one that was animated. They're like, oh, you already know the Spider-Man fucking origin story. Like, why the fuck do we need to explain it to you? And like they just, and so with Doctor Strange, there's so much shit that they can do, and the writers at God of War or Sony Entertainment are just amazing. So yeah, that's what I would choose.
Ragnarok's coming around the corner, right? Or they just announced it?
So they announced it. It's coming, I believe, the end of next year. They said mid to late 2023.
Yeah.
Or 2022.
That's God of War. God of War's next title in the same universe, right? That more.
Yes, and the trailer's beautiful. It has the PS5 graphics. You really can't tell the difference between cinematics and gameplay. It's absurd. There's some spoilers in the trailer, but to be honest, what the main director has stated in the past regarding this game, like the second game, is that they want to make another trilogy, and if this game obviously does good, they're going to make it a third one. If anyone's played the first one of this new trilogy, they know that they pretty much have another two trilogy set up, where essentially Kratos might be going to the Egyptian mythos, and then as well as the Shinto mythos. And so the reason being is that there's a moment in the game where he goes into a mirror where a character named Mimir, who is an all-seeing character that knows everything about everything, essentially is the internet and the Nordic world. And in the mirror, there's a symbol for the Greek mythos or pantheon. There's a symbol for the Nordic pantheon. There's a symbol for the Shintoism pantheon, and there's a symbol for the Egyptian pantheon. And it's kind of like a star map, and it kind of shows where Kratos has started. And Kratos is like surprised by it. So, the second game of this new trilogy is coming out. I think it's 3 years or 2 years after the first game, but it looks amazing. I'm gonna play it for sure. Me and Leslie are gonna essentially every time Vivi goes to bed or take a nap, we're gonna be playing that game. So,
too bad it's so far off, but hopefully they make something good. Back to the answer to this question. I don't know what developer would be right for this, but I don't think we've gotten the Wolverine game that we deserve.
There's a new one coming out.
From who?
The people that made Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
The newest Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are coming out with Wolverine.
Oh, nice.
Apparently, yeah, it's supposed to be like an M for mature game.
Good.
People are saying that it's supposed to be close to Logan as far as like tone and stuff. So
fantastic. But that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive?
I think it's one of those timed exclusives again.
Yeah.
Or it's like, the new term that they're saying is console exclusive. So no other console, so no Switch and no Xbox, but it will be available for PC.
Gotcha.
And so this is a trailer. It's like 40 seconds long.
the reason
there's a Hulk reference in the trailer for those that care. But if you look at the people in the background, there's like people cut open and like missing limbs and like bloodied and shit.
There's a comic book episode there's a comic issue that starts exactly like this for Wolverine.
Yeah.
The reason I was bringing it up is I just really, really hope that they implement the regeneration mechanic that he has built in correctly. Like in the comics, it's almost like how much damage can he take and still keep moving forward, as opposed to like running behind something and hiding and healing while he gets together. Usually it's just like there's been points where he's just fighting, he's just muscle and skeleton and just keeps coming forward, or gets blown up and he's just a skeleton and starts regrowing everything. Like it's almost he's nigh immortal. Yeah. But it's never really usually it's just a health bar that comes back. No, I want to see fully destructible body parts just fucking getting blown off while you can't blow off his skeleton. So like crazy shit like that. That would be a really gruesome take on Wolverine. Would be great.
So are you not to get on too much of a tangent, but I always have to bring this up when I talk about Wolverine. Are you familiar with the most depressing one-shot comic story of all time?
What's that?
So it's the storyline where Professor X becomes the president of the United States. And over time, he becomes corrupt in his power as president, and he starts making these plans to make sure that no one can really stop him in a governmental state and like taking over the world through policies and politics and stuff. So a bunch of superheroes that don't agree with him are essentially imprisoned or in permadeath or in other ways, right? So for example, Quicksilver is on a perpetual treadmill and his like arms are tied to the ceiling, and eventually he keeps running until his legs are like nubs.
Ugh.
And he can't run anymore. And it's a really dark and gruesome, like immature thing. The Hulk, his gamma radiation gets fucked up because like Professor X pays somebody to like develop some sort of new tool. And so whenever Bruce Banner turned into a Hulk, he just turned into like a giant blob where like his bones are all just jelly and he can't really do anything. And he's just stuck in prison. But Wolverine is stuck in a vat of acid and it's like 30 feet deep. And so every time he regenerates and he tries to swim out, he just sinks to the bottom over and over and over again, and he can't get out.
That's awful, dude.
And so the way the comic is told is by this really pessimistic detective, and he's checking up on everybody. Like that's his job, is to check up on all the superheroes that are detained. And so he checks up on everybody. And you get this really gloom and dark fucking feeling about it. You're like, oh, I kind of feel dirty reading about this because essentially all your favorite superheroes are defeated in one way or another, or like in purgatory that they're never going to get out unless someone saves them. And he dies while crossing the street at the end of the comic, and that's how it ends. He literally gets hit by like an SUV at the end of the story, and that's how the whole comic ends.
Professor X does?
No, the detective.
Oh, shit.
He's like, and then we'll ever wonder if justice will ever be applied, and blah 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 blah. And this is the duty of a federal worker is doing his job and not questioning what he's told. And then he gets hit by a fucking car.
Damn.
And then no, the investigator.
None of that's canon, right?
Fun fact about Wolverine: he's the only superhero from Alberta.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
The meme, I love the meme about Wolverine. It's like the only person that can accurately play him in the movies would be Danny DeVito like 20 years ago, because he's 5'1".
That's the other thing, dude. Fuck. Wolverine's never been portrayed right in the movies. He's a little tiny, super heavy guy, and we never get that. He's a little ball of muscle. He's 5'1". You could throw him, and he does damage.
Bones are extremely dense.
But we got a 6'1" version of him. All right, Bobby. After 45 minutes comic book talk, do you even have an answer for this?
What was the question?
What was the question?
Which developer would you like to make a superhero game, and which superhero? What about an Ant-Man game where you're tiny and everything's big?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Give it to anybody.
And then And also getting big and everything small. Like he can do both.
Oh, he does both.
Like
I've never seen
it's like a
Ant-Man.
Katamari game.
Well, then why do they call him Ant-Man if he can get big too?
Because he almost dies when he does it. It's like a last resort type thing.
Yeah, it says like it's like his ultimate move.
Yeah.
Like how Hulk becomes World Breaker Hulk.
He can do it for like 11 minutes and then he passes out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's there's always like the butt joke where how do you defeat Thanos, and then you send Ant-Man up his butt and then he gets big and blows him up.
Yeah.
But it's like his ultimate move.
All right. Second question.
All right. Second question from Warconius. Us oldies remember that Westwood made an awesome Dune RTS. Who should make the new Dune RTS, or should the Dune IP be used in a different genre?
Sniper, you want to jump in here?
Sure. I enjoyed the other Dune RTS, but someone in our chat was saying that this is already a done deal. So Funcom is making the next Dune game, and it's going to be like Conan Exiles.
Ooh, that sounds fun. A futuristic survival game like that? I'm actually somewhat excited.
Well, it's not a survival game.
I
think it would be a survival game, wouldn't it?
That was what that game was.
Because Conan Exiles is a survival game. You just bonk people and rape and pillage to survive.
Exiles. Wait, am I getting it fucked up? Is Exiles the MMO?
Yeah, I believe so.
Like an MMO.
It's like the open world game where you could. It had a slider for customizing the penis.
Yeah.
She got banned on Twitch for it.
Which is the Conan that's a city builder, city defense?
Conan Conquered.
Conan Unconquered.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they're trying for an MMO, it's gonna fail. It's just not gonna work.
What's it, Emilio? Quick, what is an NMO?
It's an MMO that's not gonna make it, dude. That's what it is.
Not making out of here.
I can't even believe that anybody could sit down in a meeting, get pitched an MMO, and still go. Obviously, it takes Amazon money to make one that works.
And almost getting canceled.
Yeah, like it takes a lot, guys, a lot, and you don't have it, Funcom. I'm sorry. I might be eating my words in 6 months or 2 years or whatever, but yeah,
their numbers are pretty insane right now, apparently. So,
what does Funcom make?
Conan Exiles.
No, they've made other games. I can't remember.
It's gonna be a good game.
There was one other.
That game had a rough launch.
A friend of yours played a lot of it. I can't remember what it was called. Chad played some of it.
City of Heroes.
No, after that, it was like the Secret World or something like that.
Oh yeah. My friend really liked Secret World.
But they started with Anarchy Online, which was a popular MMO, so maybe they still got it.
Maybe.
The whole definition of an MMO is changing. Like whenever we hear that word, we just think of WoW and all the failed WoW clones. But MMOs really mean something different these days. So I don't know. Conan Exiles, I don't really think of that as an MMO. That was kind of like an open world game with, I don't know, kind of like a survival game, I suppose. But either way, the Dune RTS, I want to say, was the first RTS ever. Like it created the genre of RTS.
Holy shit.
They talk about it a lot in the, I can't remember the name of the book, but the one that was talking about the development of Blizzard and Warcraft. That game was a huge, the Dune RTS was a huge inspiration for the original developers when they were making the original Warcraft game. And yeah, that was like the original one. All the RTS games spawned from that. So a pretty significant game. And I mean, it still kind of holds up. It's got all the bones there. But I don't know. If there were a new Dune game, I think an RTS would totally work for it. And I don't know what other genre I'd really want to see that in. But I
was thinking maybe a squad shooter, kind of like Dawn of War 2. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe a little bit more building detail than Dawn of War 2, of course.
Yeah, Dawn of War 2 was very squad focused, right?
Yes. Well, that's the whole thing is like they try to be kind of a little bit more accurate than Dawn of War 1 regarding like the accuracy of the game, where you had small squads of units instead of single units, like in Dawn of War 1.
How the fuck did you pigeonhole 40K? God damn it, dude. We were almost made it. We 99% of the show. Somehow you snuck it in, dude. God damn it.
That's my job as a pro nerd.
Well, with Dune, I mean, the whole story is about Paul Atreides, and it's like a coming of age story, I guess. You know, he turns into this great character. So I don't know. I almost feel like it would work in that old fashioned just campaign narrative where you start small and get big, but nobody's playing those games and it's hard to make money off of those. But I just like the Dune universe so much that I'd probably play just about anything in there. It's kind of like Star Wars in that regard for me.
Bobby, where do I start with the Dune series if I was going to read
just the original Dune book? It's the only one I've read. I haven't even read the other ones.
Oh.
Yeah, just the original Dune book.
Is anybody else more well read in the universe?
No, the only thing I know about Dune is what I know about it regarding 40K, and that 40K stole a lot of shit from Dune, and I'm sorry. That's it.
Well, what's so surprising about Dune is it's been incredibly difficult to adapt that to other mediums such as video games or movies, particularly movies. They had a TV show, I think, in the early 2000s that
I remember that.
It was a little more faithful to the book. And the original movie itself, the David Lynch one in the 80s, actually, now that I've read the book, I watched the movie, they got it all there. I mean, they're missing a few little things here and there, but it's basically everything's on screen. And yet that movie was so poorly received. It's just a really difficult story to adapt to a film. So I'm very interested to see how this Denis Villeneuve movie is going to be. Very exciting.
They have so many like narrative devices in the book to achieve something specific. Like they have those personal shield generators, right? And the whole story is if one of those gets hit by an energy weapon, an atomic blast happens that destroys like a city's radius of things. That's why they fight in like hand-to-hand combat with them, and why people can't get like that's not going to translate well to a movie, dude. Like,
yeah. Well, the shield itself, the body shield, which you can only penetrate if you move the blade very slowly, it's kind of hard to display that. And they have all sorts of things like that in the book. When I read the book, it was an updated version that had a glossary in the back. So it was very helpful because they start mentioning all these different things. When he puts his hand in the box, like they have a name for that. The lady that does it has a different name, and it's all these made up words.
Right.
And you have no idea what they're talking about. So the glossary really helped. But the shields in the David Lynch movie, I always thought were just so weird. I remember very well my mom watching that movie a lot when I was young, and it just and it was David Lynch too. You know, he's a weird guy, so he's trying to put his weirdness into the movie, and he got censored a lot because it was a big production movie, and he absolutely
It's my favorite
hated
movie, dude. I've
Really?
watched it probably like 30 or 40 times. It's my favorite movie of all time.
I enjoy it. I really like that movie, and I enjoyed it a lot more after I read the book.
You saying that whole thing about the glossary makes a lot of sense because I tried to do the audiobook once before. I think I just got was uninterested.
Yeah, it's
point.
like listening to Nick talk about Warhammer 40K. It's just like all these different words, you know. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Gleek Clarks on planet Galacnar are invading the Zeepzorps. It's
Yeah,
like-
right.
I love it. Bobby's interaction. Yes, I'm being noticed.
Was Bobby just playing around, or Chris, did you play some Nick audio from earlier show? Wow, that really sounded like some Nick audio. Exactly. All right. So
No, I do actually. You know what? I actually have a follow-up question for this. And this is like a big brain question for me. Like I had to think about this. How do you guys feel regarding like, very heartfelt and detailed universes like Dune, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, other shit that people like really a lot. I'm not going to mention the one I like because I say it a lot. And it's like a cursed word. Regarding how do you guys feel when games are made in a narrative aspect compared to a story-based aspect? And my example is like you have open world games of certain like for example the Lord of the Rings games, right? There's Return of the King for like PlayStation 2 and a bunch of other shit that you play, and you just play the storyline and you just play the missions and you just play essentially you just play the movies. But you have open world games like the Lord of the Rings MMO. Now, which one of those things would you rather have for like Dune? Would you rather have like an MMO where it's open, it's in that universe, you can choose what faction you want to be a part of, or would you rather have this play the story as the main character and go through that shit? And then there's like this weird extra shit that's added that nobody gives a fuck about.
I know what you're saying. Like, would you rather relive as playing through the hero's eye, or just be a nobody, or just like an up and comer in that universe? It really depends on the game. It depends on the genre.
Yeah.
Depends on the world itself. Like Bobby always says, the auxiliary things to Star Wars are always better than the main things to Star Wars.
I completely agree,
think the smaller
especially for
stories
Star Wars.
because Star Wars, they always got to bring everything back to Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, like all the main characters. Like everything has to tie back to them, and it gets a little ropey after a while. But what I don't like about the video games in Star Wars is the exact same thing. They always come up with these other characters and like, oh yeah, all the Jedi were wiped out except this one, and then this Jedi ends up being like Force Unleashed. Take that game for example. You're on like level 2 or 3, and you're using the Force to pull down starships. And that, and that didn't happen until the second movie with Yoda, 900-year-old Jedi master who's been practicing the Force all his life, lifts up the X-wing, and everyone's like, "Whoa, crazy!" And this dude's just like, "Oh, I just found out I had the Force yesterday, and whoop, TIE fighter coming down." Like, all right.
You know what's funny about that though, like, and not to steal your thunder on like Star Wars knowledge and shit, but like when I have a fucking friend who's a super nerd of Star Wars. He's like, well, when you read the comics and the auxiliary books from Star Wars, you know that Darth Vader has pulled down super star destroyers from the orbit and things like that. And he's like, what essentially happened was when the movies were originally made, they didn't have the effects or the budget to be able to truly show the powers of some of the Jedis that they wanted to show. Like the Jedi lightsaber fights, George Lucas had this like theory of what he wanted him to look like, but old man fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi and the guy playing fucking Darth Vader can't move that goddamn fast because old asthmatic boy can't move inside his fucking costume, and the old man's like 68. Like there's a reality tied to what they could really produce back then. Does that make sense?
I have to correct you. Darth Vader never pulled down a Star Destroyer in any comic or any book, so go fuck yourself.
I'm gonna Google this. Let me do your
guy
job
that
for
you just mentioned, dude. What's that guy's name? Star Shatterer or whatever. The guy from
The Force Unleashed?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, he's the one who did that. He pulled down a Star Destroyer in one of the games.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, sure, people write all sorts of
But it's not canon, Bob.
Yeah, and then you get into the whole canon thing. But I don't know. Even I love Jedi Knight, but I don't really care about Kyle Katarn that much in the video games. Like, they always bring up these new characters that they want you to care about.
Okay, so
the stories are
you
good.
can't tie into the old guys, and you can't bring up new guys. What do you want them to do, Bobby?
No,
Bobby's
video
like, I want to be in the universe, guys. Put me in there, okay?
No. What I was saying about the movies, so this is my issue with the video games, but with the movies, I enjoy the smaller stories.
Right.
I like how you can just take some character in the background of one of the scenes and say, oh, that's Kidkak, which is actually a character.
Yeah.
Now I'm Nick. But
you fucking nerd! Stop bringing up Star Wars. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, everyone's got their thing. But then you can develop this whole story about him or the Tonika sisters, and like you can develop a story about that. There's so many stories to tell in the universe about these background characters that were in the original movies. But then in the movies, they always have to tie things back to Han, Luke, Leia, and everyone from the original movie. So I don't know. It's different with movies and video games for me.
Okay. I'm confused, but I'm
those?
just going to let it go.
What are those things?
We've gone down this track.
What are those two ladies?
Those are the Tonika sisters.
You don't know about the Tonika sisters?
They were
No, man. I wasn't alive in 1945. What the fuck?
They were in the cantina in Mos Eisley. You only see them for a little bit. Yeah, there's the shot.
You see him for 2 frames.
I mean,
there's
the
a guy.
reason I know all this stuff is because I played the Star Wars card game, and they had a card for every background character. So after a while, you learn all these characters. Yeah, they had their own action figure. Did they have one action figure per Tonika sister? That's wild.
They're very distinct.
They didn't sell that as a set. They're like, no, we can sell 2 action figures with this.
Let's make it goddamn.
My next door neighbor had hundreds of Star Wars stuff. He had all the play sets. He had, it was awesome. It was great. It was like having them because I would just go over there and play them with him. he was my first version of what I thought was a rich kid. But if he was in my neighborhood, he wasn't a rich kid. But I was like, how does he have everything? He had the Rob the Robot for his Nintendo.
Oh, for the Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he got the he
I didn't
had
know anybody with that.
he had everything, dude. The one thing that I do remember was the Sarlacc pit was a piece of foam. So it had a piece of foam with a crosscut in it. So you could just stick dudes in there and they would disappear into the Sarlacc pit, you know? You wouldn't see them because the foam would just cover them up. It was great. It was great. Yeah. Okay. So just a recap of the show.
I have
No,
How
stop
dare you.
talking, Nick. You've talked for like 2 hours. Gee, we all want to go home, Nick.
You're already home.
On the radar was Timberborn, Gord like the fruit vegetable.
I think there's a U in Gord.
Oh, okay. Gord, Gord. Siege the Day, the Artful Escape, and then on highlights we had Slay the Spire, Magic the Gathering Arena, Hunt Showdown, Splitgate, and New World. And our game of the weeks was Humankind. Oh, who's up next? So you, Nick, it's on you.
Game of the week will be Hunt Showdown.
Okay. There it is.
It'll be 1 week. Everyone has to play it. Find somebody to play with.
Oh, Bobby, did you play Slay the Spire off of my account?
Yeah, I did.
Well, those other 2 games are there too. So
Okay.
that'd be
What
easy
other
to-
2 games? Oh, Monster Train and Tainted Grail.
Yeah, Tainted Grail.
Yeah. And
Yep.
Hunt Showdown, right?
Yeah, dude, if you blew through the game, yeah, there's so much shit that like you're gonna have so much to play.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if I'm going to get burnt out on the genre, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
So, what's everyone playing this week besides Hunt Showdown?
When does no, we're still a ways off. We're 1 podcast away from New World, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are 1 podcast away from your.
I'm literally addicted to Innistrad and the new cards right now. Sam's yelling at me. She's like, "You're addicted to that game." I was like, "There's new cards. Don't you understand? There's new cards. There's goddamn werewolves."
I fucking hate the werewolves.
You know what? Go ahead, Nick.
I'm also going to be playing Magic. I'm going to be playing some Total War multiplayer, and I'm going to probably playing Hunt Showdown with like Diddy and Lotion. Teaching Leslie probably how to play Fallout, because she has a gaming laptop now, and she finished Lost in Random, and she says it's one of her favorite games of all time. Took her 20 hours to beat. She says it was a great story. But yeah.
Oh, wow. I might check out Astroneer this week. I know that's a random pick, but so
It's on Game Pass, right?
no, well, I have it on Steam.
Oh,
I played it like way back when it was in early access a couple years ago, and it was in kind of a rough state back then. And I ran into some things that really killed it for me, and I just thought, you know what, this game needs to be developed a little bit more. I'll come back to it. But in my class that I teach, the students are working on their first project, their autobiography, right? And so one kid, he's typing up his script and everything, and he's talking about his favorite video game, and he says it's Astroneer, and I thought, wow, that's so random. I totally forgot about that game. So I don't know. I might dip back into that. That's one of those survival games, but it's set. You're like this little astronaut guy on a distant planet. I remember kind of enjoying it. So
cool.
Astroneer was
see where
fun.
it's
I
at.
liked it.
Yeah. Cool colors, if I remember right. A lot of neons. Is that the right one I'm thinking of?
Yeah, it kind of looked like No Man's Sky a little bit, where
Yeah.
everything was kind of vibrant and
It's a
bright.
single player No Man's Sky, a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, kind of like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Wait, isn't Astroneer multiplayer now?
It might be. I played it in such early beta that I'm sure it has a lot more features.
Yes, no, it is completely multiplayer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Co-op, yeah. So if anyone wants to check that out with me,
Hey, Sniper, why is there a call to action to get into beer snobs? Are you just trying to keep the riffraff out, or?
I don't know if you're using that term right.
I don't think that's what a call to action is, but it's just a private channel on Discord. Because not everyone
We get a lot of
wants to
grief
be-
when we make new channels, so we probably don't want that showing up for everybody.
What I meant was a hoop to jump through.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to inundate everyone because we're already being pretty fucking annoying with it, dude. So.
Yeah, we talk a lot about stupid shit.
Oh, do we, Nick? Jesus Christ. All right, speaking for Bobby, Nick, and myself, annoyed titties, everyone. Bye.
Oh boy. Every time Star Wars comes up, I feel like I start talking in circles. Like I even confuse myself.
Nah, man, don't.
Yeah, no. Even
We
I
love
got
your
confused.
Star Wars talk,
when I
buddy.
was the one talking.
Well, Abby, every time you talk about Star Wars, I want to do a Star Wars podcast.